Welcome to this week's edition of Outdoors Online, a weekly webcast produced by the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. I'm your host, Tom Jensen. My guest this week is Aaron Robinson. Aaron is the upland bird supervisor for Game and Fish. We're going to talk about the grouse season, which is upon us. Aaron, I want to cover each species one by one. Start with sharptails.
Sure. Well, as you can see, our weather is getting close to fall. Sharptail numbers are down this year from last. We just finished our brood surveys where we go out across the state and we do early morning counts to try to get an indication of what our production was for this summer. And what we're seeing so far, and we just finished it last week actually, but what we're seeing so far is our bird numbers are down about 20% statewide for sharptails specifically. There are areas that are better than others. For instance, the southwest part or the western grasslands were pretty dry this spring, and so our production was down. We didn't have brood numbers that are typically in the 6, 7, 8 size in terms of brood numbers. They were down to like 4 chicks per brood, which is pretty low for production. And that has an indication on how many birds we see and how many birds hunters will see come season. So the southwest and the western part of the state is down about actually 40% from last year, but the central part of the state and the northwest part of the state are up. So it kind of offsets from as you go further east, you get into better bird numbers.
All in all, though, they're still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a little bit more challenging in the west because you're hunting carryover birds from last year, and those are usually typically adults who have gone through a hunting season and they know the game, and so a lot of them will flush early. What really makes sharptail season fun is when you can get into those naive brood groups, and those birds hold well, and you get opportunities to get multiple flushes. So if you can find those areas where production was good, you're going to have a great time.
A species that I want to cover, Aaron, that doesn't get hunted specifically by a big number of hunters, and that's Hungarian partridge.
Yeah, hunts are hard to target specifically just because our populations, our densities are so low. It's hard for me to tell a hunter where to go specifically target them. They're more of an opportunistic bird when you're out hunting grouse or you're hunting pheasants and you get into a covey. Then by all means go after them and try to shoot a few of those birds, because there's nothing better than shooting partridge. And this year, we've been, the last 5 or 6 years, we've been our population has been extremely low as we've ever documented, but we're starting to rebound. These dry conditions actually help partridge. We've seen about a 5% increase this year from our brood surveys. So our numbers are coming back, but I'm expecting hunters to find about the same number this year as they did last. And to put this into context, last year we harvested about 60,000. The year before we only harvested 37,000. So we increased by 45% in terms of harvest last year, and I'm guessing we're going to be around that same number this year.
There's a mystery bird in the state, if you want to call it that, Aaron, and there are hunters in the state that actually do specifically target these birds, the ruffed grouse,
yep.
And they're very small areas that they're found in.
Yeah, we have a couple small populations in the northeastern part of the state, in the Pembina Gorge and the Turtle Mountains. Now, our population is not abundant at all. I mean, it takes effort, and if you go up there to hunt, you only may find 2 or 3 birds at all. But that's pretty successful in North Dakota standards.
Sure.
Our numbers are rebounding. They go in a 10-year cycle, and we just came out of the bottom and we're headed up. So we're hoping the next few years it's going to get better and better every year.
All right.
I can't say exactly how well people are going to do this year because it's a hard bird to actually census, but hunters need to go find those areas where we have some trails in some of those that habitat. Up in the Waterfowl Wildlife Management Area up in the Turtle Mountains is a great place to start.
Kind of among the aspens.
Yeah,
up there.
I mean you're walking through the aspens, and these birds are going to be on the ground. I like to hunt them over a dog because it makes it more challenge. A lot of people don't do that. They just try to harvest birds. So it's a great opportunity to get into a different habitat type in the fall. Instead of hunting the prairie like we do out here, you know, you get to hunt in a forested area, which actually makes a little bit of change of scenery, and it's actually a pretty good time.
The sage grouse season is closed, of course, again, Aaron, but I do want to take a minute and talk about the sage grouse, their future in North Dakota.
That is unknown. We don't know if we're going to have even a population in the next few years. I mean, we went from 31 birds or 31 males that we counted in 2015 to 17 that we counted this spring. We have 17 male grouse that we know of actively breeding birds in the Southwest, and that's not a sustainable number. So we are working with the Wyoming Department of Wildlife to try to bring birds in from Wyoming and try to bolster or augment our population. That's hopefully going to happen this spring.
All right. Aaron, you and your crews do an upland wing survey every year to gather some much needed data. Tell me more about the study, how you do it, and what it's for.
Yeah, so what we actually do for our wing survey, we send out envelopes to hunters who either one of two ways. Either they reported last year that they harvested wings and they sent us wings. If they did, we'll send them envelopes the following year because we know we can count on them to send our wings. And then we also send them to anyone who reported that they hunted sharptails in the previous year. So we send out a mail questionnaire to hunters, and if they respond that they hunted either partridge or sharp-tailed grouse, we will send them wing envelopes the following year.
All right, that's how you determine how you mail the envelopes. This year, what if someone wants to volunteer their services?
We have a link on our website that hunters can go to, and it'll ask them for their information in terms of their mailing address. These are pre-postage stamped envelopes, so you don't have to pay anything. You just give us your information, how many wings you want, and we'll send you wings in the mail, and then envelopes in the mail, and then you put those your wings in those and send them back to us. All expenses paid by us.
Okay, what kind of wings and what kind of data do you look for, or what kind of information do you look
with
for?
sharptails, what we ask for is just one wing and cutting it off basically right at the elbow, and then we want a couple crown feathers which go right out of the top of the bird's head. They're about that long, and then we want 2 or 3 of the central tail feathers right in the middle. If you fan out the tail, we want 2 or 3 right out of the center. That's for sharptails. For partridge, all we need is a wing. That's it.
Okay, you ask for information where they harvested the birds,
yep,
things like
we'll
that?
ask for the county. That's as far as we get. We'll ask for the county and the date that they harvest. If they don't include those 2 things, we can't use it, and we just throw those wings away.
All right, what do you use the data for?
Well, what the most important thing that we get out of this is a production of age ratio. So it allows us to see how many chicks per adult was produced over the previous year, and it's the most accurate representation of what our production was. And so it gives us an idea, and what we do with that data is we can compare it to weather that happened during that nesting period, and helps us get an index of and try to predict what future hunting seasons are going to be based on weather events and also the changes in habitat. We can take that data and actually correlate it to how the habitat has changed.
All right, speaking of weather, let's get out of it. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Hunting seasons are in full swing in North Dakota. Archery seasons for deer and pronghorn are both open, as well as the season on mourning doves. Grouse and partridge seasons are now open. The early resident waterfowl season opens September 24th, and the regular waterfowl season is set for an opening on Saturday, October 1st. Pheasant and fall turkey seasons open October 8th, and the 2016 firearms deer season opens at noon on Friday, November 4th. For Aaron Robinson and the rest of the staff here at North Dakota Game and Fish, thanks for joining us for Outdoors Online. We'll see you again next week.